Hi everybody. At the moment I'm in the process of knitting a scarf for Catherine. Here it is. Where is the end of the scarf? You could say it's here. You could say it's here. Or you could say that it's in the middle of the ball, still yet to be uncovered and knitted into the scarf as a whole. I use this as an illustration of how sometimes a simple question doesn't have a straightforward one simple answer. We're going to be embarking on our last week of looking at beginnings and endings today with a look at the first verse of Revelation. And Revelation is also a book about the last times, the end times, if you. And I think that sometimes it can be a bit of a confusing topic. It can be a topic with a lot of different viewpoints. So as we read the verse and as we reflect on it, I want to think about how sometimes the end can be in different locations depending on how you interpret the data. So here's Revelation chapter 1, verse 1. Revelation of Jesus Christ, which God gave to him to show his servants, must soon take place. He made it known by sending his angel to his servant John. One of the things that has been suggested for looking at after finish this series on beginnings and endings is end times. So we're going to be hopefully just touching on that a bit this and Sunday's sessions, and we might go into more depth later. We'll see. There are a couple of things that I want to pull out from this verse. First of all, we're told that it's a revelation. Why did God reveal anything? Why did he bother to tell John to pass on the message to his first readers and to us, these prophecies of how the world was going to end? I think that there are two possible reasons for that. Firstly, that we would know that God knows. This might sound a bit weird, but what I'm getting at is that we live in confusing and sometimes scary times. We're obviously still in the clutches of coronavirus. There have been other kind of plagues, if you like, reported around the world. Just yesterday, there was an enormous explosion in Beirut, leaving thousands injured and dozens dead. We live in a world that can seem to be spiraling out of control with no hand on the steering wheel and just on a crash course for disaster. But God revealed what would soon happen to John before it happened, as he did with the Old Testament prophets, as Jesus did for his disciples. And I think he did that part to let us know that God knows what's going to happen. We can take some comfort in it because it means that we're not having to be scared that God is having to think on the fly to do about stuff. Take comfort in it because it means that God actually has taken think into account. When he created the world, he already knew what was going to happen in 2020. The other reason I think perhaps that he revealed things ahead of time is so that we can be prepared. If somebody is forewarned, they are forearmed, as the saying goes. And perhaps we are given the information about what will happen before it happens so that we can make appropriate preparations to handle situations. we're told that these things will soon take place. Now, this perhaps ties back to my knitting and where is the end? Could be in one of three places and possibly more than that. Sometimes it can be easy to get caught up in trying to work out exactly when soon is. It's a problem that Jehovah's Witnesses, for example, have struggled with practically from their conception, having predicted the end of the world in 1873, 1874, 1914, 1925, 1942, 1974. And I don't think I need to tell you, the world is still here. All of those world prophecies. It's perhaps easy to make fun, which is not what I'm trying to do. To show that try to show that Jehovah's Witnesses have got a really bad idea of what prophecy is, but also I'm trying to show that whenever we try to fix a firm date on when term as fluid as soon is, then it will almost invariably lead to a wrongful. Many prophecies throughout the Bible have kind of a short term and a long term fulfillment. And I think that Revelation is in that bracket. His original audience would have heard it as being a reference to Rome and the empire's domination of the early Christian church. But of course, it's also about a longer vision, about the end of days. I think we do best to not focus so much on when it's going to happen, how it's going to happen, so much as that it's going to happen. You see, if we believe that the Bible is inspired by God, that He did know it's going to happen from the beginning, that He has revealed in Torah apocalyptic language to John what's going to happen, then that means it is going to happen. It doesn't really matter, perhaps, the specifics, the ins and outs, the finer detail of how. It doesn't really matter precisely when, because if we know that it's going to happen, we do well to live as though it's going to happen soon. I don't mean walking around with a sandwich board saying the end of the world is nigh, but it does mean that there should be a sense of urgency about our talking about sharing our faith with other people. There should be a desire to see as many people reached with the gospel message of God's love and forgiveness as possible, because we don't know when the world is going to. We don't know when Jesus will return. We don't know even when any one of us might die. We know that He will return. We know that the world, as we experience it at the moment, will come to a conclusion. And so let's spur each other on to share the gospel message. Do it not in a fear of hell or even a hope of reward in heaven kind of way, but just to tell people that there is an offer on the table, an offer of forgiveness for sins, an offer of eternal relationship with God, of knowing the embrace of a loving Father. We can keep those at the forefront of our mind when we think about end times. I think that we're heading in the right direction. That's all I've got for you for today. Sunday we'll be reflecting on the final verse, and I might try and unpack a little bit more of the book of Revelation and what we can take from it, and then we'll move into things next week. Till then, take care.